Well, I appreciate everybody coming out today. First, on behalf of Steve Ross, I just want to again publicly thank Coach Philbin and his family, Diane, his wife, for 4 great years with the Dolphin organization and truly giving this organization everything we had. It was important today that we try to handle everything with as much respect and dignity as we could, and we had good conversations. Steve did, I did, with Coach Philbin, and again, he gave us everything he had for 4 years. Obviously, things weren't going as well as we had hoped this year. Steve made the decision this morning, and then we moved forward accordingly. Turning the page, we made the decision this morning because this season is only 4 games old, and when we made the decision to make Dan Campbell our interim head coach, it was the thinking that, again, this season is 4 games old, that we can still accomplish all of our goals this year. Not a 3-year rebuild, but in 2015, the Dolphins we could achieve all our goals that we set out for. Dan played in the NFL for 11 years. He's coached for 6. He brings leadership, toughness, and energy, and I'm really proud to have an opportunity to work with him. With that, I'd like to introduce Dan Campbell.
Appreciate it, Mike. First things first, with Coach Philbin, I have the utmost respect for Joe. I mean, he's been nothing but a class act for us, and I've learned a lot from him. He didn't have to hire me back in 2011, but he did. I was part of the old staff, and I'm forever grateful for that. There's a lot of things that I'll take with me that I learned from him. As to what Mike had said, just talking about this roster a little bit, that being said, this is my 6th season with the Miami Dolphins. And this is the most talented roster that we have had in those 6 years. Okay, so we have plenty of talent. Okay, we have the people in this building. We have the staff. Okay, there may be some things that have to be moved or shuffled as far as that goes, but I need time to sort those things out. But we have enough to win. Okay? We have to change the culture. I have to change the culture, and that's what I intend to do. And what that means is we need to become a more aggressive front, or team in general. We need to get our front 4 on defense, our front 5 on the offensive line, just as a whole. We need to breed a culture of competitiveness, finish, and intensity. And to me, that's where it all starts. That's where we have to change it. We change it in practice. Okay, we make it much more competitive. We need these guys to go after each other a little bit. To me, the best teams that I've been a part of are the ones that during the week they go after each other, whether it's practice squad versus defense, they're given the look, or practice squad versus offense, but it gets heated, okay, and it's intense, and it's people that are fighting to win. All right, they want to get noticed, or they want to do their job. It's not just going through the motions. To me, that's what's got to change, and if we'll start there, I think we'll be in the right direction. I don't think, I know. That'll put us in the right direction. And then we'll go, X's and O's will come later from there. I'm appreciative to Mr. Ross for the opportunity. I had a talk with him earlier today. I talked to Mike, I had talked to Mr. Ross, and, this is the 5th organization that I've been a part of, and nobody on those teams has spent more on resources or has committed more to wanting to win than Mr. Ross. That is the fact. He'll do, and he told me when I talked to him earlier, he said, whatever you need, I'll be there for you. So whatever you think you need, whatever it takes to turn the team around, you got it. So that's fortunate to have an owner that is that way. So, and that's what I intend to do. And I'm appreciative for the support.
Now we'll open up to any questions.
What makes you the right individual on this staff for this job right now?
What made me qualified, or I feel like I relate to the players. I feel like that I'm somebody that understands them. It doesn't mean I'm their best friend, but because I've been in that locker room, and I understand what it's like when you have, I've been at the top, I've been at the bottom. I understand what it's like to hit that roller coaster. I understand what it's like when things start going not the way that you want them to go and what it takes to bring people back. I feel like I've always been whether it was a player or a coach that can pull the best out of people. I feel like everybody is different. No player is the same. No coach is the same. And so with that, there's different ways to motivate players. You know, some players, they need a kick in the rear. Some players need to be patted on the back. Some need to be challenged. They need to be told that they're not good enough, because that's when they really rise to the top. So those are going to be the things that I have to do, and I feel like that is my strength. I understand people very well, and I understand players. And to me, that's what I do well. That's one of the things I do well.
Dan, do you expect to keep your defensive coordinator and offensive coordinators in place?
Yeah, to be honest with you, like I said, I just found out like 2 or 3 hours ago about being interim head coach. I need time to soak all this in. I need time to really evaluate defensively what we're doing, what we're not doing. I mean, my head's been in offense, so those things will come later. I don't have time right now. I'll get to that though.
Mike, I know you can't speak for Mr. Ross, but in the offseason, he decided he wanted to keep Joe. 4 games in, obviously, he makes this change. What could have changed possibly in his feel for him as a head coach and what he could do for his team?
Yeah, I believe that Steve was going to be available later on, so probably be more appropriate for, I don't want to speak on behalf of Steve, but what I can tell you from a general sense is, you know, we weren't happy with the direction the team was going, the results through the first 4 games of the season. Again, we felt like this was the best opportunity for us, for the 2015 Dolphins, to make the change now, to give us an impact, to give us a better chance to win, you know, this season. And as we talked about earlier, you know, Joe did everything he could, you know, for this team, for this organization. The record was what it was, and we just felt like this was the time was now with the bye week, with 12 games still left to be played this season.
Dan, you said the best teams that you've been on, they were tough. They got after it in practice during the week. Is it fair then to assume that you haven't seen enough of that here?
I would say that's fair to say. You know, what we've done a good job of is being mindful of the fact that we're trying to keep these players fresh and ready to go on Sunday, and who wouldn't? And we still have to be able to approach it that way. However, I feel like there's a lot more that we can get out of these guys, and we need to get out of them. We need to change the culture such that, just like I said earlier, where it is so competitive on Wednesday, Thursday, maybe even Friday, that these guys, it is very intense. It is very heated. It may even teeter on the fact they have to break a few things up. But that is when you really get good. That is when the juices start flowing. That is when you get the most of your players, is when they're having to compete during the week. Because you can't just go through the motions on Wednesday, Thursday, even Friday, and then you're just going to turn it on Sunday. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. You want to get the most out of them, you have to challenge them. They have to be challenged. That goes from the best player we have on this team to the one that's not the best, okay? Mike Pouncey, as great as he is, he needs to be challenged every day. He needs somebody that's going to push him every day and is trying to beat him every rep. That goes for every player. I don't care if it's Sue, I don't care if it's Cole Misi, I don't care if it's Jarvis Landry. They have to be pushed and they have to be worked. Okay, they have to be challenged, and that's what I'm good. That's the first thing I'm changing. I'm going to challenge these guys. I want them to have to compete.
Dan, when you being challenged, when we're being challenged up to this point this season?
Say that again.
Do you feel that the players weren't being challenged enough up to this point this season in practice?
I feel like there's different ways to challenge these players, and I'm going to do that.
Dan, what was your immediate reaction when you were first approached about this, taking on this new role?
It was a little surreal, but at the same time, it was something that I was willing to accept. You know, of course, when you come to the role as a head coach, there's only 32 of these spots. It's interim head coach, I understand that, but it's a little bit of, whoa, okay, what are you getting into? But it's also, I'm ready for this. I can do this. I understand this league. I understand these players. I know what it takes to win in this league. I've been around it. Just like I said, I've been around some really good coaches now. And so I know what it needs to look like. I know how I want it to look like.
Dan,